Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is really exciting. We are going to be ranking my collection of alter ego palettes. I was really excited to do this because I love the brand. The formulation on most of the shadows in most of the palettes are really good, and they dupe high-end makeup palette. And of course, me being frugal, I always love to save money. So if you want to see me ranking all of my alter ego palettes, just stay tuned. So it's true, I'm a sucker for a deal, and I absolutely love alter ego. I think they do high-end dupes better than a lot of the different companies out there. Their formulation, they really do try their hardest to get it as close to the original as possible. They don't always hit the mark, but they do try. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 palettes here that I want to talk about, and there's some that I did not purchase from alter ego because I do have the originals, but they are dupes that are available, so I will talk about those at the very end as well, the ones that I do not have. My cat's coming in. He wants to see what's up. You want to help me dupe some palettes? So you're probably going to hear him purring in the background. So the first one on the list is called the Daydream palette. I love this palette so much. If I'm really in the mood for pinks, or if I'm looking to do that kind of look, this is the palette I always reach for. I love the palette. It is a dupe for the New Nudes palette, and it has a beautiful color story. It really does. It's got a little bit more depth with the darker colors up here, but for me, some of these chunkier glitters, they get everywhere. You have to have a glitter glue. It's like a whole thing. For me, I don't want to work that hard. I'm kind of lazy when it comes to like glitters and stuff, and they get everywhere. I mean, I put those glitters on my eyelids with glitter glue and they were just all over my cheeks. It wasn't a great formula. I'm not 100% sure if that is how the Huda Beauty one is as well. If that's, the case, because I did have the original. I'll put it in post so that you know which one I'm talking about. It had really different textures in it. It was a little bit weird to me. But the swatches of the Daydream palette are really beautiful and rosy and just very springy. I really do enjoy this palette, and this is one that I do reach for just because of how creamy these mattes are as well. I mean, they are so pretty and so pigmented and really easy to blend out. So I love the fact that they made this as a dupe, and I think it was $16. I think I will get all of that for you and link them all down below for you as well. If you did not want to buy the Huda Beauty one, but you wanted the same feel, and obviously this being almost an exact dupe of it, this is definitely your go-to. They still have, I don't know, do they not? They might not have this. No, they do. Okay, never mind. I'm losing my mind. They do still have this on their website, and everything's been sold out lately. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but they're hopefully going to be back soon with the restocks for some of these as well. So that is number 6. Number 5 is the Canyon palette. This palette was a dupe for the Bronze Natasha Denona palette. This one is really pretty. I really enjoy the color story on this as well. Some of these glitters, again, are not my favorite, but I do love the color story. I'm really into those rich browns and those kind of more orangey undertones. Obviously, you can see my makeup today. I actually did not use this palette to make this eye look. You'll see what palette I use later. But this one has this really dark, rich, brownish black color, and I like to use that for eyeliner on the lash line. I think it's really beautiful with a nice stiff brush and a little bit of Fix Plus. I do have the cream to matte formula in here too. Obviously, they're trying to be as close to Natasha Denona as possible. I wish they wouldn't do that. I wish they would just leave it as a powder formula, because their mattes are so gorgeous just on their own. They don't need to do the cream to matte. But again, this just lands on this list here just because of the fact that this one isn't reached for as often as some of the others. So the next one on the list, number 654, I can do math. The next one on the list is Goddess. I got this one right as the gold palette was coming out from Natasha Denona. Again, this is a dupe for that one. This one is so pretty. It's got those rich greens. The only thing I don't like, and I think I'd say the same thing about the Natasha Denona palette, is the fact that this color, and that color are so similar. And in that palette, it's the same. They have 3 like mid-tone kind of camel browns, and they're all the same. And quite honestly, I think it's a little redundant. It's a really beautiful palette. It's got some dual chromes here. If you can see the shift, it goes to yellow and then to green. They did it really well in this palette, trying to come as close as possible to the original Natasha Denona gold palette. I didn't get my hands on the gold palette, and that's another video I think I might do, is like if I was to ask Natasha Denona to re-release mini palettes, what ones would I ask for? And I think that that one would definitely be on the list. But I did pick this one up, and I believe again it was like $16. It is still available on the website, and again I'll link everything down below. So the next one on the list is a newer one to me. I actually just picked this one up and I love it. I love the color story. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's number 3 on the list, and it's really neck and neck with number 2. And the one that I'm talking about is the Luster Charm palette. This palette is a dupe for Pat McGrath one she put out. Again, I'll put it in post so that you guys know what I'm talking about. This color right here is a beautiful inner corner highlight. I love this color. It doesn't have a whole lot of pigment, but it's great as like a crystal overlay. It makes everything better. And they nailed it. Like, they just did a wonderful job with this. And I'm really loving this color right here. This color is just so pretty and so pigmented and just, oh my God. It's so glittery, but it's so finely milled. You can put that all over the eye with a little bit of this in the crease right here. This one is called Rare. You put a little bit of that in the crease as transition and opaque all over the lid. It's just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So I'm really happy with this one. I'm not a huge fan of like rosy tones or purples in general. I'm more on the cooler side, and sometimes I like a pop of color like today, but I absolutely love this palette. I think it's a great everyday palette. I think that you can make a lot of different looks with it. And you know, this color spell too is just absolutely stunning. If you're looking to kind of dive in to Alter Ego for the first time, I would highly suggest this palette. It is neck and neck again with number 2 and number 1, but everybody has to fall on the list somewhere. And I'm really hoping that they dupe more Pat McGrath, because the formula in here is really good too. The mattes are so creamy. They're like, perfect. Moving on, getting this list done. I think also this one retailed for $22, $20, something like that. And bigger YouTubers do have coupon codes, so obviously I'll link a couple of my favorite YouTubers down in the description box for you if you want to save a little bit of money too, like on shipping. I think it's like 10% you can get off, so it's like shipping costs, which is still good. So the next one, number 2 on the list, and it's, oh gosh, it's so hard. It's so hard because this one is so pretty and it's totally up my alley. I love a good cool tone palette. I'm all about the slate colors and the dark grays and the blacks. I just love it. My choice for number 2 is Shadow Kiss. Shadow Kiss is gorgeous. It has just the most beautiful tones in here. And again, this is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Glam palette, as you can see. But can you just, oh God, for $16, you can't beat their formula. I'm sorry, you just can't. They have some of the best creamy mattes that I have ever used in a affordable brand, period. I mean, there are so many other like Milani and Profusion and things like that. I've tried all of their palettes, but these again are just the creamiest. They're so easy to blend. They're user friendly. They really do try to mimic the Natasha Denona formula. Obviously, these are not formula dupes. These are color dupes, and they do try, but sometimes it's just not gonna work. Oh. Well, that was rude. Turn this on silent. But this is one of those palettes that I feel like you can get the full-on glam, beautiful nighttime look and put this color right here, this color right there, on the lash line and just smoke it out. And putting Disguise right here all over the lid. Oh my gosh. So pretty. I love this palette, and these actually are cruelty free as well, so that is a huge bonus. I'm trying my best to be more conscious of animal rights and things like that, so I love the fact that these are cruelty free. But yes, this palette is definitely number 2 on my list. I love number 1. It's what I have on my eyes today. Let's be real. Again, there is some redundancy in this one as well, but again, it is a Natasha Denona dupe because they're obsessed and they know that it will sell, which by far, best $22 I ever spent, period. I used to love on palettes for like weeks at a time, but I'm starting to get back in that groove, and this palette I've been loving on for like the last 3 weeks, and by far my favorite. It's because there's so much you can do with this palette. There's so many different colors. There is just so much versatility in it. You don't get that beautiful color story of like just cream tones or pink tones or gray tones or purple tones or whatever it is. This one has a little of everything. It reminds me a little bit, not a lot, but just a hint of the Born to Run palette from Urban Decay way back when, like way back when I started YouTube, because that palette was sick. I loved it and I wanted it so bad, but I missed out. And this one gives me those vibes because of the way that it's structured. I love it. Anyways, what I'm talking about, sorry, I'm just going on for days and not telling you what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the Artemis palette. It is a direct dupe of Metropolis palette from Natasha Denona. Again, if I was still doing YouTube back then, when this came out, I think it was 2 years ago, like 2020. And I probably would have picked it up then, but again, I missed out on it. So this is the way that I get my fix without spending an arm and a leg trying to buy already used or pre-owned or whatever. I think I used this in my last video as well. So if you were interested, this is the palette that I use. Oh my God, look at those colors. Oh, it's so pretty. These blues here and here are cream to matte. This green here is cream to matte. Get a nice sharp angled brush and do on the lash line with those dark colors, and then put some of these pops of just the blues all over the lid, or that beautiful cranberry color, or the orange is what I've got on today. They're just so pretty. They really tried their best with the cream to mattes, but they are really easy to use and they do pick up on a brush. I used a fluffy brush really to kind of get into the crease with the cream to mattes, and it worked just fine. The shimmery shades, the glitter, they're finely milled. They're not going to get all over your face. And I think they learned that from the new nudes. They really did learn from that palette. I just love the color story. I think that that's probably what I'm most obsessed with, is the color story, just because of the fact that you can do so many looks with this. And there are, again, some redundancies here and there. These two up here. These two are a little bit more on the redundant side. I feel like if you hit pan on one, you have a backup. And I think that's kind of where the logic is coming in. At least that's what I tell myself. I think I want to buy a backup just to have it, just in case I discontinue it. So ladies and gentlemen, those are my top 6 palettes ranked in order for Alter Ego, but do not despair. If you're wondering about 3 other palettes that they have on their website that are dupes for high end, I will tell you right now. They have the Temptress palette that I did not buy only because I already had the Sultry palette, and that's what the dupe is. So it does look just like this. If you wanted to get this and you didn't get it when it was available, because I believe it's been discontinued, go get that palette. It'll be well worth it. So the other one that they duped that I have the original of but did not purchase, obviously, the Alter Ego one, which I don't know, I probably should have because I barely reach for this one. The Sunrise palette from Natasha Denona, and it is called the Aurora palette. Again, I will put it somewhere in a picture, maybe over my face, so you can see what it looks like. And I'm really hoping that the formula, again, what I've been seeing consistently through all of the palettes that I have from Alter Ego, that they have very clear understanding of their matte shadows. So those creamy matte, I think that you'll be very happy with it if you do not want to spend like 65 bucks on this one. And the last palette that Alter Ego dupe from Natasha Denona that I picked up the original of was the Biba palette. Obviously everybody and their mom has this palette. I bought it for my wedding because I wanted to have just a really beautiful neutral look. I did my own makeup. This one is just so gorgeous. It was, I think, the introduction of the cream to matte formula. That formula, I believe, is in the Alter Ego palette as well. It looks just like this. The tones, the shades are very, very similar. But if you don't want to spend $129 on this palette here, Alter Ego's got you covered for $22. And believe you me, it's worth every single penny. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this helped you on your buying journey. If you have any suggestions on what you want to see, please put it in the comments below, and make sure you hit that like button for the algorithm gods, because you know that they're watching us all the time. And if you have questions, or if you want to learn more about some of these palettes, go ahead and watch this video or this video, because I've done looks on both and I'd love for you to check them out. All right, guys, I love you. I'll see you soon. Bye.